My name is Megan Zimmerman, and I am the Dementia Friendly State Coordinator with Dementia Friendly Iowa. And today we're going to be focusing on how to build a dementia-friendly community. So hopefully you've heard a little bit about the dementia-friendly community initiatives, but if not, that's okay. We'll catch you up on this call today. And really the goal is to just kind of give an overview of the initiative, how communities can join, what communities have done successfully in the past, both here in Iowa and in other states, and just hopefully inspire you to think about what this could look like in your community. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If at any point we have tech issues, if you can't hear me, go ahead and speak up. Or if you have questions just throughout the presentation today, feel free to put it in the chat or speak up because I want it to be interactive because that's more fun for all of us. So, alrighty. Perfect. You should be able to see my PowerPoint here. Okay, so Dementia Friendly Iowa, what is it? So we're an organization, we're an initiative housed within the Northeast Iowa Area Agency on Aging. So our program is statewide, even though our program of Dementia Friendly Iowa is regional. So that kind of gets confusing sometimes right off the bat, but our NEI3A nonprofit is the housing organization of this program. We do receive funding from the University of Iowa through the Iowa Geriatric Education Center. At this time, I'm the only staff member, but we have lots of volunteers across the state. Really, our initiative is pretty much completely volunteer driven besides my role. So these are just some of the faces of some of our dementia friends, dementia-friendly businesses, just a few of the thousands of people that have been getting involved in Iowa. You can see just from this picture, just 5, 6 pictures here. We want to reach a variety of people because everybody has a role to play in helping their community be dementia friendly. It's not just aging services, it's not just social services, but it should be all sectors of the community. So that's a theme you'll see as we talk about the Dementia Friendly Community Initiative today. It's getting multiple sectors together because we all have a role to play. So just something to think about. You don't have to put it in the chat or speak up, but just something to think in your own mind about when you picture your community and your involvement in it. How do you feel? What words might come to mind? What do you think of when you think of involvement in the community? I know for me, I think of connection. I think of opportunity. You might think of just friends, family, opportunities for engagement. You know, there's a lot of positive feelings that often arise for us when we think of our involvement or our ability to be involved in the community. So what we know is that the majority of people with dementia also live in the community. About 80% of those living with dementia are still in their own homes, in their apartments, interacting with the rest of the community, just like everyone else is. What we also know is that 67% of people with dementia don't feel like a part of their community. So there's obviously a disconnect there. If 80% live in the community and then 67% don't feel a part of the community, there's something wrong. So we really need to try to equip our local communities to be able to serve and include this population. So that's what this work is all about. Just really briefly, I won't go far into this, but we just want to define dementia quick. So as I'm saying dementia, what am I actually saying? Well, when we say dementia, we're talking about a set of symptoms. The symptoms include memory loss, sleep changes, social changes, confusion with time and place, maybe hallucinations, many other symptoms that are grouped in this word dementia. And the most common form or type of dementia is Alzheimer's disease that causes 60 to 80% of cases of dementia, whereas other forms of dementia are less common, but still causing 20 to 40% of cases of dementia. That's Lewy body dementia, frontal temporal degeneration, vascular dementia, and many others. So when I say dementia, I'm referring to that set of symptoms, and anyone with any of these diseases, among others, could be grouped in that umbrella term of dementia. So I do have a couple of videos for our frequently asked questions session today. This one I love. It just shows a little bit of a vision of what a dementia-friendly community is. You can see it's really just small changes, but what a difference it can make. So I'm going to go ahead and share this so you can see that. This is taken in the UK through the Alzheimer's Society.
On air as the sun rises tomorrow morning from 7 o'clock here on 107.9 FM.
Right. It's not raining. Good. What? I've forgotten. Should I?
Just go sit down. Just go sit down.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that way. I don't what? Oh, I don't know. Could you please? It's my list. Should I go? I don't know quite what. Oh dear. Where's my bread? Chicken cheese.
What?
Chicken cheese?
Sorry.
Oh. Oh. I don't know. People with dementia have experiences like this every day. A little bit of understanding, tolerance and patience can make all the difference.
I'll tell you what, if you go into the seats just there,
Right.
when we get there, I'll call you, okay?
Okay, madam.
I can't get on.
Let me help you. This way.
Thank you.
Can I have a look at that list?
Yes.
Chicken and cheese.
Oh,
Let's go this way.
thank you. Find out how to become dementia friendly.
So I love that video because it just shows what the opportunity is when we can equip the community to be dementia friendly. Really small changes, but when we saw the initial videos of people interacting with that woman, sometimes it seemed harsh, I think, from our minds because we're watching it from the lens of that individual with dementia. But how often do those interactions happen that way? People are in a rush. People aren't necessarily aware of dementia. They're not looking for it. Therefore, we know people with dementia every day are in those types of interactions. So that's, again, part of why we're trying to work towards dementia-friendly communities in Iowa. So just a little bit of background on the program. There is a national network, and we'll refer to it a lot today, called Dementia Friendly America. And Dementia Friendly America is housed within US Aging, which is, again, a big partner of all the AAAs across the United States. And there are two focuses of Dementia Friendly America. These are the same two focuses we have here at the state level. So there are Dementia Friends programs, which is an individual education session. It's about usually 60 minutes, and anyone who attends learns basics of dementia, communication tips, how to support those with dementia, and they become a dementia friend. Dementia Friendly Community initiatives are more of that macro level community-wide approach. And we have at this time 7 communities in Iowa that have been accepted and started this official process to be a dementia friendly community. So these initiatives work hand in hand. That's why they're in the same program, both at the national level and the state level. So I'm going to focus just briefly on Dementia Friends, and then we're going to focus our rest of the time on dementia friendly community initiatives. So Dementia Friends, again, are just really an education session. They're led by champion volunteers called champions who are able to go out and teach these education programs so anyone in attendance at their sessions becomes a dementia friend. At this time, we have over 10,000, almost 11,000 dementia friends in Iowa, which is super exciting. But our favorite part, besides the numbers, is just the stories of impact we hear after. We hear individuals that have no context or knowledge of dementia learn a bit about dementia and dementia friends and then go use it with their family, or they share it with friends, or sometimes even big steps happen. We had an individual become a dementia friend, and a couple weeks later at the gym, she ended up walking on a treadmill right next to someone who had dementia. Instead of feeling uncomfortable, she connected with her. She ended up helping with her treadmill settings, helping with her locker combination. And this woman's husband came over and said, "Thanks for being kind to my wife. She has Alzheimer's." Well, this dementia friend ended up saying, "I'd love to walk on the treadmills. I'm here every Thursday." And they became friends and walked every Thursday together. And what a big step that is, and what a difference that can make in our communities if we have thousands of people across Iowa stepping up as dementia friends. So now diving in just for the dementia friendly community side of things, I know that's our main focus here today. So dementia friendly communities, I love the image up in the right corner. You can see it's multi-sector. So every part of the community has a role to play. Although these communities become a part of the national network of Dementia Friendly America, they are grassroots and local movements supposed to be based on existing strengths and weaknesses. So that's a key factor of all of this. Dementia Friendly America and Dementia Friendly Iowa, we do not prescribe to a community what they have to do. We just provide tools and help them identify, based on their community strengths and weaknesses, what could they do to make their community better. At the core, these communities are led by a volunteer cross-sector action team. So there's a requirement that the action team has to represent at least 3 different sectors of the community. So that could be healthcare, entertainment, aging services, transportation, local government, law enforcement, community members. So as long as 3 or more of those sectors are on the action team, that's the basis of a community initiative. Ideally, in that action team, people with dementia and or family caregivers are included and drive the initiative. We know this population, people with dementia and their families, are the experts on the needs in the community when it comes to making it better for them. So right now, those 7 communities in Iowa, and this is listed in the order that they've been recognized, are Cedar Valley, so the Waterloo-Cedar Falls area, Maquoketa, Vinton, Dubuque, Johnson County, Lynn County, and Clarinda. Clarinda just launched about a week or so ago. So that map shows where these are. Clarinda was also our first in the western part of Iowa. Most of our efforts have been on the eastern side at this point. Some communities that are actively working towards launching include Des Moines, Bettendorf, Davenport, which will eventually be full Quad Cities, and Delaware County, among others, but those 3 have kind of already formed action teams and are starting the process to move forward. So if I should mention, if you are a part of one of these communities on the screen, I'd be happy to connect you locally with the local action team, because obviously something's already going. So we want to connect you if you want to be a part of that. If your community is not on the screen, then a lot of this time from here on out, it's going to be talking about what does it take to get your community on that map. So here's our frequently asked questions. So first, a lot of people will ask, how do we actually just start the process of launching a dementia-friendly community effort? So my first suggestion is always just to get familiar. So you made a great step today by attending this session. And then also I recommend checking out our website and the Dementia Friendly America website. They have a toolkit. It's extremely in-depth and kind of provides tools and step-by-step processes for you to think about. And so it's important to get familiar with some of those before starting to build things. Oh, and I see Heather in the chat says I'm in Lynn County. Would love to be a part of that. Yeah, Heather, if you would be willing at the end of today or right now, just shoot me an email to remind me and I'll connect you. Awesome. So once you start getting familiar, the next step would be to identify community leads or co-leads. So these would be the point people to lead that local action team. I've seen communities try to get going and they build an action team, but nobody is really in charge. Nobody's really that point person. And then so it starts to fizzle because really nobody knows who's doing what here. So a community should have a co-lead, ideally co-leads, a couple or at least a lead to be able to be that point person locally. A champion organization can also be helpful. That would be an organization that says, hey, we'll be willing to house this locally. Maybe they want to be the nonprofit that can help, be able to search out grants and things like that. That's not necessary, especially at the beginning, but it can be helpful to help the initiative be sustainable. Then after you've identified a co-lead or co-leads, you start building an action team, again, representing at least 3 sectors and people with dementia and caregivers. The key here is to really look for people who are genuinely excited and passionate about this. I've seen communities, both in Iowa and other states, where they'll build the action team, people will get on board, the right positions will be involved, but if there's not that genuine passion and excitement and capacity with time, then the initiative fizzles because people can't sustain that. And then finally, I always recommend, this is more kind of logistics, but I always recommend action teams set a standing meeting, whether that's monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly, just to have it on the calendar to keep it front of mind. Again, otherwise everyone gets busy and it can start to fall off the calendar. So I always recommend setting a standing meeting and then start identifying action priorities. So these would be the things that your community would look at and say, we want to do X, Y, and Z to be dementia friendly and really focus in on those couple goals. Here's another image, kind of a model of the action team. So again, at least 3 of these outside sectors and inclusion of people with dementia and family caregivers. These are a couple pictures right here in Iowa. Action teams can look different depending on the area. So this is Clarinda. Clarinda is a smaller town of 5,000 and their action team's about 5 people. They meet in person at the library. In Cedar Valley, it's a little more spread out. I didn't get a picture of everyone, but we have about 15 people on our action team, and we mostly meet via Zoom. So there's flexibility on what that action team looks like, what their meetings look like, things like that. Size of action team. Typically, I recommend for smaller communities, anywhere between 5 and 10 people. For larger communities, metro areas, I definitely recommend looking towards more of that 15-20 mark. Often to start building an action team, communities will start to hold some stakeholder meetings. So we have some templates of flyers and things available. I even have template agendas you can use to start getting the process off the ground, to start getting people involved in your stakeholder meeting. This picture on the right, this collage is from Lynn County. So when we started attracting an action team and building that in Lynn County, we did an initial stakeholder meeting open to anyone and everyone. We did a round robin discussion of what are the biggest gaps and strengths, and we started gauging people's interest in further involvement. As you begin your initial meetings, again, some of these key things you're going to want to start discussing. What are the community strengths? who could house this? You know, if your community has a really active community center, could this be a part of that? Or could someone at least from that organization be a part of the action team? Maybe you already have some really great support groups for people with dementia and their care partners. That'd be a strength you'd want to reach out to and involve in some way. Then you start to discuss who are our key sector partners, community stakeholders, and who could be our action team members. Also, start the conversation early of how you're going to ensure inclusion of people with dementia on that team. And then always a pro tip, try to leave every meeting, even those initial ones, with at least 1 to 2 action steps the team can take away. Again, this is volunteer driven, so it can be helpful if we just have 1 or 2 action steps to be clear of what are we getting done, what do we need to move forward with. All right, next question. What makes a community an official dementia-friendly community initiative? So to be official, a community does have to complete this application process. There's a Dementia Friendly America application. It's both on our website, on their website that you can access. And the application's really set up to get the community thinking about sustainability and those key elements for success. So the application is just the start of the process to launch the community initiative. There should be 2 elements that are key and shown in your application answers. One is that cross-sector action team and collaboration, and the second is involvement of people living with dementia. So those 2 should be really evident in your answers in your application. With your application, they also require 4 letters of support. 3 of them at least 3 should be from different people or organizations in the community. And that can be really broad. It can be from community leaders, it can be from key organizations, it can be from families and people living with dementia. And then once you get all that gathered, you'd provide that application and letters to me. And then I, as a state coordinator, write a letter that they require for Dementia Friendly America. And then that gets submitted. Once it's submitted, it usually takes about a week for them to look it over and get back with further questions or with the acceptance. So once your application is accepted, one question communities have is, now what do we do? How do we get the word out? What should we do once our application's accepted? Nothing in particular is required. You can get to work on your action steps, but we always recommend a kickoff or media presence. So I have a couple examples here from other communities. This first one is Waterloo, so Cedar Valley. This was back in 2019 when we first launched the first dementia-friendly community in Iowa. We did a kickoff, so we called it the Building a Dementia-Friendly Community Conference at the University of Northern Iowa. Fun fact, I was a student at the time and was pulled in to coordinate the conference. So that's how I got involved in all of this. But they did an official kind of announcement that the press was there and everything. So I'll play a little bit of this so you can see that.
Great. So I invited these 2 individuals up to the stage to make the announcement. Waterloo has been certified as dementia friendly. So that is great.
I'm delighted that our great city has taken another step in providing the best quality of life for all individuals by becoming the first community in Iowa to become a certified dementia-friendly community. And I encourage all communities consider attaining this certification and constantly striving to make our communities a great place to grow up and grow old. So thank you so much.
But we want this.
So that's Waterloo's when we first did that announcement. And at that conference, we had guest speakers come in to talk about local resources, talk about dementia in general. We invited families, professionals, and had, I think, 100 or so people attend. In Lynn County, this is a new video just from last week or June 20th. So yeah, exactly a week ago. And their application was accepted actually this spring. And so this was actually their first event that they did, their first action step. And they wanted to do a parking lot party. And they had lots of resource tables. They had individuals with dementia there sharing their story. They had food trucks. And this was kind of their official launch to get the word out. So I'll play this a little bit too.
There was a party in the parking lot of the DeWolf Family Innovation Center for Aging and Dementia to celebrate joining a national network. Today, Lynn County joined the Dementia Friendly America Network.
Now, Lynn County is only the 6th Iowa community to join this network, signaling active progress to provide more resources to those living with dementia. KCRG TV9's Jackson Valenti joins us live in the studio. And Jack, you're going to explain how dementia-friendly Lynn County will be impacting patients and their families.
Yeah, Beth, it's an honor, and the healthcare providers I talked to are excited for that designation. They told me that being part of that network means they'll be able to connect with dementia experts nationwide to better serve the people here. This development in Marion is one of the reasons why Lynn County now has the designation of being dementia-friendly.
We are delighted. Yeah, this is wonderful. Seeing the community come out is great. Yeah.
There were more.
So that's just, there's more to that video if you want to look up KCRG, but just a little bit of a snippet of what they did for their kickoff. It was a super, super fun event.
Than 20.
And then finally, not all communities do kickoff events because it can be a lot to take on. So other communities do press releases. And so this is just a quick screenshot. Johnson County did a press release after they were accepted and, you know, pushed it out on social media and through the news. So those are just a couple ideas, but we're always open to more. I know Clorinda was talking about doing a table like at the city hall or the library just to get the word out that way to kick off and potentially even doing it at their county fair. All right, next question. What are the perks of officially joining a dementia-friendly community or officially launching a dementia-friendly community initiative? So there are several perks. This is why we always recommend, especially if things are already happening and in place, to just apply and get that official recognition, because DFA often, when you get to join the network, that provides credibility and buy-in from community and leaders. So getting to put out that press release, doing a kickoff, talking about it, having a logo, that all provides credibility to the initiative. So when you get accepted, DFA will provide, they'll put you on kind of a Google group so you can be involved in communications from other communities and staff. You'll also be listed on the DFA website and get to use their logo so people can find you. You'll also receive recognition on social media, both theirs and ours, and then you can have access to technical assistance from the DFA team. On the Dementia Friendly Iowa side of things, we actually provide you a web page on our website, so you don't have to create your own website. You can already have a web page for your community initiative. We also provide a personalized community logo and customized tablecloth. We can help provide dementia friends and dementia friendly business training material. We also twice a year gather together all the community leads and co-leads together to talk about what's going well, help inspire each other and collaborate. And then also I'm available to meet with you just for technical assistance, so you don't have to reinvent that wheel. So lots of perks to when you apply and officially join DFA. There's a picture of where the individual community web pages are on our website. So we'll support you in technical assistance and help when we can, but community initiatives are grassroots. So again, we don't want to step in and tell you what you have to do. This should be what your community has the capacity and wants to do. We also have a launch toolkit that actually will be available to you all after today, and it just gives a bunch of tools for getting started. Another question, this one's a hot topic. Does it cost money to launch a dementia-friendly community initiative? And can our community raise donations for the local initiative? So the answer to this is applying to and joining Dementia Friendly America is completely free. There is no cost to it, and many communities, especially at the beginning, do everything for free, and they get, in-kind donations. It's volunteer driven. There really isn't a need for funding, especially at first. As the initiative grows, some communities do end up wanting to get that local sponsor organization to house the initiative so they can pursue grants. So maybe, for example, they want to do a parking lot party like Lynn County had, and they need some money. Well, typically, you can maybe find that in kind, and somebody will say, oh, we'll just put forward X amount for the tables or whatever. But sometimes communities will want to apply for grants to do that type of thing. As far as fundraising, communities and initiatives can raise their own funds. You will have to have locally an entity that should be that fiscal administrator. So Dementia Friendly Iowa and NEI 3A cannot serve as that local fiscal administrator for your community initiative. That will have to be identified locally. Local donations can and should be kept local, but sometimes initiatives don't have a use for the money, don't feel comfortable keeping track of money. In that case, any donations can go towards Dementia Friendly Iowa to support statewide coordination. But again, we always want you to keep that local if you can. Another question, how do we know if there's enough interest or need in our community? You know, I've had some communities say, I just don't know if we need this here. So my answer is people with dementia are everywhere. Again, majority live in the community. I've put some numbers on the screen just based on where I know some of you are from or where you're located. These are estimates of the number of people with dementia in that county. So Polk County, there's an estimated around 8,000 people with dementia. And if you think 80% live in the community, that's a lot of people. And then some others listed there. I think we had some from Franklin County, at least 265 people with dementia. These estimates are also likely low because dementia is not always diagnosed correctly. So people with dementia are everywhere, no matter what your community is. Then when we think about this, we know that there's families, caregivers, neighbors, and professionals who are also all impacted by dementia. So if you think, okay, in Marion County, there's 729 people with dementia. We know that at least a couple, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 people know that individual with dementia and are also impacted by this and could use the support. If you are in a tiny community and you think, wow, I just don't know if we have enough manpower, enough people for our action team, you can consider expanding and having your community initiative be your full county or region. Sometimes even in larger communities, doing the county or region is helpful. For example, Cedar Valley, Waterloo, Cedar Falls is so interconnected that it just made sense to work together. And then timing is key. You can always test the waters. So one idea to kind of test the waters is to become a Dementia Friends champion. You could do a Dementia Friends session and share the idea with people that attend. So just start to get the word out there by offering that, and then go from there to see if you have enough interest it's good timing to do a Dementia Friendly Community initiative. Another question we hear people say, it seems like there's so much to do to make our community dementia friendly. Where do we even begin? That's a big question, and that's a great question. So I always say the key is one step at a time. The progress is made when individuals and communities pick 1 or 2 or 3 goals and really focus in on those, because the reality is there is so much to do. A community also is never fully dementia friendly. So there's so many things we could do because there's so much out there that's not dementia friendly. One example of how a community can never fully be dementia friendly, a lot of communities have huge events. Maybe there's like a summer carnival or a big concert in the park or something. In those events, just the nature of them are not dementia friendly. There are things we can do to get those to be more dementia friendly. We can increase signage, we can train volunteers, we can provide a quiet area, so on. However, the nature of them is not going to be fully dementia friendly. Another example, driving is not necessarily ever going to be fully dementia friendly. Again, there's some things we can do, train the DOT, train law enforcement, things like that. But driving's a part of our society that is not fully dementia friendly. So keep all that in mind, that there's a lot of work to be done. And unfortunately, we're never going to make a community fully dementia friendly. Again, the most successful communities just choose a few action priorities at a time. They base those on their existing strengths and gaps. So I want to spend the rest of our time, or most of our rest of our time, on what are those action priorities or action steps that communities have done before. So I've mentioned this throughout. A lot of these communities will choose to just offer a ton of Dementia Friends sessions. So in Cedar Valley, we're doing anywhere between 15 and 25 a month. So we have a lot of Dementia Friends in the Cedar Valley, and a lot of other communities choose to do this as well as just a means to educate their community. Dementia Friendly business training is another action step a lot of communities choose to take. We have specific training we can provide to you, and then we can recognize businesses like hardware stores, libraries, local law enforcement, retail stores, grocery stores, restaurants to be dementia friendly and equip their staff to do so. And then we have window stickers like the one on the right that we can provide to recognize that business. So that's one good way to get businesses and organizations involved and give them recognition. What's neat is when we start to do that, we've seen in communities that these organizations will take their own action steps. So it kind of acts as a catalyst in the community. So one example, we did our dementia friendly organization training with Hartman Reserve Nature Center in Cedar Falls. And they decided, oh, we want to do more for people with dementia. So they ended up launching and hosting their Memory Cafe, which is a monthly space for people with dementia and their friends and caregivers to just hang out and have fun together. They do Thanksgiving meals, they sit around the campfire and sing songs, they do nature crafts, they go bird watching, and they have a ton of fun together. So that's one example. In Maquoketa recently, the library did a dementia-friendly training and decided they also want to start a memory cafe. So we've just seen kind of a snowball of we train an organization and they start to say, what can we do? And let's do it, which is great. Other communities, just in general, launch gatherings for people with dementia and their caregivers. So memory cafes, support groups, walking groups, choirs, you name it, we've seen communities start it. Another popular action step is to create and distribute community resource lists. So a lot of communities might have some dementia-related resources already, but there's just not really a list where it's compiled, so nobody knows how to access the resources. So in Cedar Valley and in several other communities now, after we've created these resource lists, this one's a listing of support groups and memory cafes, just to get out to the local clinics and to churches and social workers to help people get connected to what's already out there. A lot of communities also will partner with their local library. Libraries are an amazing partner in these initiatives because they're safe, open spaces to everyone. So libraries can kind of serve as a resource hub. Some libraries do dementia activity kits, such as the one in the picture. They usually have a theme and can be checked out for people with dementia to just have more engagement in their home. Libraries are great host sites for education programs. Libraries might host or highlight dementia-related collections. Sometimes they host dementia-related book clubs or film showings. And they're also just a great host site for your action team meetings, for support groups, memory cafes, things like that. So I definitely always recommend, if you can, partner with your local library. And then just some other community action ideas. Possibilities really are endless. City proclamations, some cities will even do like a dementia-friendly week where they'll have a bunch of opportunities offered to the community for education, support. We also see in, I believe, Michigan, we've seen a lot of this. They do no shush movie showings or dementia-friendly movie screenings. And it's just an opportunity where people with dementia can go to the movies and it's a totally no judgment zone. Maybe they leave like the lights on a little bit so it's not so dark and dangerous. Dancing in the aisles or clapping and shouting's encouraged instead of discouraged and shushed. We're also seeing dementia simulation experiences pop up. So in Cedar Valley, the UNI Dementia Simulation House exists, and it's where people can put on gear and see what it's like to live with dementia. Some communities like Vinton will kind of take the gear on the go and do training in different organizations. In Johnson County, they have at Oaknell Retirement Community, they opened up one of their apartments as a Dementia Live experience. So that's definitely becoming more popular. Some communities will do dementia-friendly restaurant reservations where they'll set aside a time or weekly at a certain restaurant for people with dementia to make reservations where the staff is trained. Maybe it's a little quieter area that they've reserved. Maybe the menus are a little less complex. Maybe there's just 5 options with pictures. We see communities partnering with law enforcement for effective emergency response plans. We're seeing communities work with local schools to provide dementia education for students. So that's what this image is that says "You are loved." That was drawn by a student at Lowell Elementary in Waterloo that we did Dementia Friends education with. Working with local government or other organizations to improve public physical space, offering community memory screenings, partnering with local churches for dementia-friendly worship opportunities. So the possibilities really are endless. These are just a sum of many. And that's why being a part of the Dementia Friendly America Google group is helpful, because communities will kind of send in pictures and ideas of what they're doing locally. Our next question, how do we include people living with dementia in our community initiative? Because this is definitely a key. So this is sometimes challenging. I will admit that. It can be challenging to find an individual to step forward, because someone with dementia, as they progress, being a part of meetings and things like this might get more challenging. But sometimes people, especially in maybe the earlier to mid stages of dementia, this might be something they really enjoy. And we've had people with dementia just love to be a part of these action teams. So we recommend to find this individual, reach out to support groups, your local area agency on aging, local churches, things like that, to try to see if you can find a couple people with dementia to be involved. We always recommend work with those individuals to adapt to their interests and abilities. So maybe someone with dementia wants to be a part of your action team, but maybe doesn't want to talk much at it. And maybe they'd rather just meet one-on-one for more of a focus groups type feel every couple of months. Or maybe this person doesn't want to be a part of the action team, but they are willing to come out and co-present with you when you go out in the community and share about the initiative. So really adapt it based on their abilities. And this is going to change over time too, because we know dementia is progressive. So we've had to work with people with dementia over their progression to make sure they're still feeling included, and yeah, being a valuable part of the process. We have taken several videos of individuals with dementia sharing their story, which is a really effective way to elevate the voices. So we have some YouTube videos on our YouTube channel that I recommend you take a look at. We don't have time to watch them now, but they're wonderful and a great way to learn about dementia too. We've also done, again, elevating the voices of individuals with dementia. Kevin, right here in the boots, has Lewy body dementia. He's been on lots of news reports with us. Lori is recording some radio ads in the Cedar Valley at the station she used to work at. So just, again, adapting, finding ways to promote involvement. All right, just a few more questions I'm covering here, and then we'll open it up to anything else you have. So we also have communities will ask, can we create a social media page or a website? The answer is yes, but it's not required. Obviously, that's going to depend on the capacity of your action team. If someone wants to take it on, keep in mind that your community will, again, have that free web page on our website. And then also, if you have specific announcements or anything like that, then we're also happy to put those on our Dementia Friendly Iowa social media. So that's kind of where I wrap up. So join the mission. We'd love for you to be involved. I'm going to put some ways here on the screen. Of course, we'd love to see you help launch or volunteer with a local Dementia Friendly Community initiative. Again, if you're in an area that already has one, let me help you connect. Otherwise, I can help you start one. Other ideas for involvement, you could attend the 1-hour Dementia Friend session or become a champion to be able to present that in your community. That there's a training required for that, so check out our website or let me know if you're interested. You could also host a session or dementia-friendly business training with your organization. At the very least, you could sign up for our online newsletter or set up a meeting with me to talk more. So if you're interested and just don't know what the right step is, I'd be happy to get on a call or meet with you if we're in the same area to talk more. So after all that, I know it feels like I just sprayed a fire hose, but remember that it really is one step at a time that leads to great progress. It's neat to see, like in Cedar Valley, we've been at this for 5 years. I'm not gonna lie, some months, some years, it's even been like, whew, I don't know if we're doing much, but then you look back and it's like, wow, we've come a long way in 5 years. And that's true for all of our community initiatives. So it's one step at a time and it looks different in every community.